Good afternoon, hello. My name is Daniel and I've just returned from my latest or first ever proper gravel adventure. And whilst both the memories and pain is still fresh in my mind, I thought I'd talk through some things on this bike that I think worked really well. Whether you agree or not, they worked for me on this specific adventure. So hopefully it might help you in your gravel planning. Item number one, and it is several things combined. It is all to do with this front end, this cockpit area. Not everybody likes the look of this, I know, but let me tell you about why this worked for me. We rode for around 15 hours. Some was on tarmac, some was flat, some was hilly and technical. I've got several different positions here that I can ride in. 44 centimeters on the drops, 40 centimeters on the hoods, aero bars and high-sided armrests. I can move around those positions. On the faster sections, I could lean on my elbows and take the weight off my hands. On the more technical sections, I can be on the drops and really wide and stable. It just really worked. It won't work for everybody, but it worked for me. What also works is having the bike computer on the extension, so I can have it quite far forward. So when you're looking at the terrain, you can also keep an eye on the map so you know where you're going. And also having a light mounted on the middle of the mount. It's a Project 76 mount. Means that the light spread is really good. It's positioned exactly over your wheel. So as long as you have the right light, it spreads really well and you can see where you're going. It's also mechanically mounted. It's not going to fall off. It is bolted on. And all of that worked absolutely brilliantly. Item number two that worked really well is this area. It is the drivetrain. Now I do partner with NRG chains. They supply me with wax chains, ceramic bearing jockey wheels and all of that. Now that is brilliant, but I'm not just saying use NRG chains, I'm saying use any wax chain. Off-road, it works so much better than a lube drivetrain. It just picks up muck a lot less easily, means you can ride for longer before you get that awful drivetrain noise. Now, I rode for about 15 hours and I did have to stop about halfway. I did apply some wax lube, so it doesn't last forever, but it definitely lasts longer than a normal lube. And when I stopped, I gave it a quick wipe with a baby wipe, applied some wax lube, and it was quiet for the remainder of the ride. We're going through mud, we're going through water, we're riding in all conditions, the rain and all sorts, and it really does work well. So a wax drivetrain. Number three, and purely by chance, this third bottle mount. Now, it wasn't very hot on the day that we did the ride, and it's not like we're riding hundreds and hundreds of miles. However, having that third bottle and having a big bottle under the bottom bracket just relieved any stress I had about running out of fluid. In the Peak District, which is where we rode, there aren't a lot of shops between some places, and as you might know from riding off-road, 10 miles of one type of terrain might take you an hour, 10 miles of another type of terrain might take you 2, and therefore you need to have plenty of fluid on board at all times. That relieved a lot of my stress and helped me fuel the whole day. I didn't always use that third bottle, but I use it just to fill up the little bottles if we stopped and if it was convenient. I would absolutely use this in future on any sort of long distance or ultra endurance ride. The fourth thing that worked really well, and I didn't really plan to use this until the last minute, but is this. It's an ass saver. These are really cheap, they're really easy to fit, you just slide it under your saddle. And to be honest, I half thought, oh, not a bother, but actually it stops all the muck going up your back from riding off-road. And that you might think, oh, it doesn't really matter, I'm going to get mucky anyway. The specific benefit for me from this was I had a lot of food in my pockets and camera and phone and stuff, and with that area just being clean rather than covered in mud, you're a lot more likely to go into it, which means you eat more, drink more, take more pictures, record more videos, all the things that I like doing, that has enabled me to do. So I definitely fit, and I'm going to leave it on the bike, in fact, an ass saver for all sorts of off-road riding. Going back down to the heart of the frame, and this might seem small, but bottles with lids on, these have absolutely been a game changer for me off-road, and especially on this day. I went through peaks and troughs of how much I was drinking, and I should have drank more, but a benefit for me for motivation to drink was having clean bottle lids. The guy I was riding with, Dan, didn't have bottle lids, and he was always trying to pull the lid up and then just like squirt it in his mouth because it's covered in cow poo and mud and all sorts. All I had to do was lift the bottle out, flick a lid off, and that lid there is clean. It's absolutely brilliant. They're not cheap, they're about £12 a bottle, which is a lot when you're used to just getting bottles from everywhere for free, but I would definitely use these off-road in future, so bottles with lids. If you've got any top gravel spec tips, let me know in the comment section down below. This isn't a video about this bike specifically, but I would like to add this bike was absolutely mint. It was perfect, it was faultless, I absolutely love it. But hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hit subscribe down below if you have, and I'll see you later.